All right. Thanks, Steve. Great to be on and appreciate that recognition as well. Obviously, any honor given to me is a reflection of everyone in this program, players, coaches, staff, and I'm blessed to have a lot of great people around me as well. Excited to be on here with you guys and excited to be a little over 24 hours out from this game tomorrow. We've had a fantastic week here in Charlotte. I want to thank Danny Morrison and his entire staff and everyone affiliated with the Duke's Mayo Bowl. It's been a fantastic experience for our players. These guys do a great job, first class in every way. Our guys have had a lot of fun. We've been hard at work. We understand the purpose of this trip for sure, but certainly have enjoyed ourselves, and everyone here affiliated with the bowl has made that easy to do. Excited for tomorrow. Like I've talked about before, bowl games are the teams that perform well are the ones that are, most excited in my mind to be there. And I think you have two teams that are really, really excited about this game. I certainly know that we are. How could you not be with everything about this, being Charlotte, being back in a bowl game for the first time since 2018, playing a really talented team in North Carolina, competing against a legendary Hall of Fame coach, two fan bases that have a lot of pride, Battle of the Carolinas, so much excitement about this. So it's a great matchup and really fortunate to be here in Charlotte. And I believe somebody was telling me last night, our fans sold out our allotment of tickets and requested more. And it's no surprise. Knowing what our fan base is about, and that's exciting. Should be an amazing atmosphere in that stadium tomorrow, and we're up against an extremely talented team. This is the same team that was in the Orange Bowl last year and won 10 games, I believe. So a lot of the same people back, and they're just 2 or 3 plays away from being a 9-10 win team again as well. Pittsburgh won the ACC, and North Carolina took them to overtime on the road. NC State, beat them at the end of the game. So they've had some close, tough losses, but, the talent jumps off the tape when you watch them. And then obviously everything starts with Sam Howell and their ability to score points on offense. They're explosive. I know I've said it with you guys before. Everybody thinks, Sam Howell and throwing the football and up-tempo offense and throwing it. But these guys want to run the football. They're number 1 in the ACC in rushing. Their running back is 3rd in the ACC in rushing. Quarterback is 7th, I believe. So it's a dynamic rush and attack, really talented defense, very multiple and explosive on special teams, and an extremely well-coached team, staff that I have a lot of respect for. So big challenge for us, but we've had a great week, and our guys are excited and really looking forward to going in tomorrow morning. So I will be glad to take any questions you guys have.
David with the first one.
Hey, Shane, thanks for doing this. Obviously, COVID's a huge story right now. After the latest round of testing, are you guys going to be missing any more that you thought you had or that were resulted from that testing yesterday?
Did we lose him?
Am I now the moderator? All right, how about we keep it like we always do? David, you're up first.
Sorry about that, Shane. I guess I got cut off. But obviously, COVID test yesterday. Did you guys have any positives from that and other guys that are going to be missing the game tomorrow?
We did have some positives. We did have a couple positives, which is unfortunate. Nothing that's going to prevent us from playing in the game, and it's just it's a tough deal. We had a few positives. Zero symptoms from anyone. I'm just a head football coach here at South Carolina, so I'm sure no one really cares what I think, but it's just it's a disappointing deal because one of the positives was a senior walk-on that's getting ready to play in his last football game ever as a South Carolina Gamecock. feels completely great, has zero symptoms, not a cough, not congestion, not a runny nose, nothing. And his college career ends with a phone call telling him that he just tested positive for COVID and he's got to get in a car and drive back home yesterday afternoon. And every single one of the positives that we had yesterday, zero symptoms at all, felt great. Had great weeks of practice and all that as well. So certainly something that we're working through right now, but we did have some, but nothing that's going to affect our ability, to play in the game. Obviously we're 24 hours out right now and next man up.
CL Brown.
Yeah, Shane, I was just kind of following along that COVID questioning. So how has that made preparation with knowing, from hour to hour, from practice to practice, you might be down another person?
It's just part of it, you look around and every team in America, every sports league in America is dealing with it right now. I mean, you turn on an NFL football game and half the time you can't recognize who some of the players are on the team because teams have so many guys out, players and coaches, NBA, college basketball, so it's part of it. So we're not the only ones that are dealing with it, but it's certainly challenging, particularly, I mentioned it the other day that we're not the same team that we were against Clemson. Since then, we've lost some guys have decided to move on and have entered the transfer portal. I mentioned it to you the other day. We got a few guys that are suspended and aren't here. And then you throw in the COVID complications on top of it. It's we're not the same group that we were when we played Clemson in that last regular season game, but I don't know if any team is. I think a lot of teams are dealing with it, but it's just part of it. We rep a lot of guys in practice. We try and get a lot of guys reps in games to develop depth, and we've got confidence in whoever we. And that the way things were trending, there was going to be some positives. So it wasn't like we were surprised yesterday when we got some positives. So certainly that's been part of our planning this week as well, is making sure that I don't want to say worst case scenario, but that we weren't shocked that we got some positives yesterday and that we were preparing everybody to go out there and play and healthy and cleared to play tomorrow and go out there and compete our butts off.
Rick Henry.
Hey, Shane, how you doing? I'm going to continue the COVID line of questioning, but I just want to know just how nerve-wracking is it for you as a coach, especially when you look at what happened in North Carolina State yesterday. I mean, just hours before the game, they find out that they're not going to play.
Yeah, it's tough. It's part of the landscape, and right now I hate it for those teams that put that work in and don't get to play in the game. And we talked about it earlier in the week that, my biggest fear was having to walk into a team meeting room and tell these guys that we weren't able to play in this game. So we wanted to make sure that we did all the precautions that we could, to make sure that we were able, but also letting these guys have fun. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that would want me to have barricaded these guys in their hotel rooms all week, not allowing them to leave their rooms except to go to practice and walk around or sit around waiting for something bad to happen. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. We enjoyed ourselves here. We took care of each other. We tried to be safe and take as many precautions as we could. And you also, you understand that what's at stake. And we got a great group of guys that we want to have an opportunity to play one more game tomorrow together as a team, because this is a really special group. And we're on track to do that. And again, each day you want to balance them to have fun, but you also got to understand there's protocols in place. And certainly being in Charlotte has been, made it, I don't want to say easier, but the city of Charlotte has, much more protocols than what we've from a mask mandate and things like that than what we had in Columbia. So, we're following the law here in Charlotte as well. And here in the hotel that we're staying at, what's required, which, makes it a little bit easier as well.
Ben Portnoy.
Shane, just wanted to check that Justin Steppen and Torian Gray weren't at practice the other day. Just wanted to see what their status was for the game and if you're expecting to miss any other coaches for Thursday.
Justin and Torian will be at practice today, or will be at our walkthrough today. Justin and Torian will be. You're right; they weren't there the other day. They are back. Justin was at breakfast this morning and ran the receiver meeting, and Torian will be at the walkthrough here a little bit later. And then in regards to anybody else, I don't want to get into all that right now.
Mike Yuba.
Hey, Shane, I'll get away from positive, holy cow, COVID for a minute. Looking at a guy like Parker White, I mean, obviously you had only an opportunity to coach him for 1 year, but as you've probably quickly learned, he's anything from most ordinary kickers, and being able to close in on a record that is very special to the university. What can you kind of say about him, and what a record like that would mean for an individual like him as well?
Yeah, no one more deserving. I'll go back and say again what a complete travesty and joke it is that he wasn't a finalist for the Lou Groza Award. Still haven't figured that one out, never will. He's just steady, consistent. I think it says everything you need to know about Parker that he was voted a team captain. And I don't know how many times I've been around a program where, no disrespect to the kickers and the punters, but they were voted a captain. And we didn't say, hey, you have to vote someone from special teams a captain. We just said vote for the players on the team. And that shows you the respect that his teammates have for him. And I know I do as well. And fortunate that he's on our side and not a kicker in the country. I'd rather have kicking for us.
Ben Briner.
Hey, Coach, I kind of wanted to ask, obviously this is your first year, but you have, the well of knowledge from your father. We're in an area, you've got opt-outs, you've got transfers, you got all this COVID stuff. I know right now you're sitting on, I think it's 5 scholarship quarterbacks, which is something that, you haven't seen in the past. How much more nimble and do coaches you think have to be these days as compared to, maybe even 5-10 years ago, when you might have 4 scholarship quarterbacks and say, those guys are definitely going to, mostly stay with this program throughout. And now you just kind of have to bring them in and hope that the competition sorts its way out.
Yeah, it's certainly different. We were at an event, our staff was at an event with North Carolina staff last night and spent some time talking to Coach Brown just about how different it is, nowadays, and it's part of it. And, I think when I was here as an assistant coach, Coach Spurrier used to always tell me, anytime anything changed schedule wise and all that, he used to always tell me, Beamer, just be flexible, Beamer. And I think that's kind of how it is, right now as well. You just understand that the roster is kind of constantly in flux, and we're always going to bring competition into the program, meaning increasing the depth at every single position. And, I believe that everyone better. And that's what you want. You want guys in here that love to compete. And I'll use Braden Davis, the quarterback we signed, as an example. When Braden was signing with us, we brought in Spencer Rattler as a transfer. We decided to sign Tanner Bailey, another quarterback. And I just called Braden because he had been committed to us since the summertime. And I called Braden to say, here's what I'm thinking, and here's why we're adding some other quarterbacks. And some quarterbacks probably would have not wanted to hear that. Braden was like, I don't care. You can bring in whoever you want. The competition is going to make us all better. And that's the mentality that you want. But, you certainly realize that you're right, Ben, that the numbers constantly changing, that people are always looking for opportunities to, better their situation for sure. And you hope that you build a program and environment culture that everyone wants to be a part of. But certainly there's situations where guys want to explore other opportunities and go somewhere where they have the opportunity to play more. And we wish them well also. I mean, anyone that's left our program to enter the portal since the end of the season, I've had great conversations with and traded text messages with Jason Brown just a couple of days ago about stuff and want to help these guys in any way. And it's just part of the landscape now in college athletics.
Hale.
No, obviously you don't want to give away secrets to the other head coach, but with you and Coach Brown and having the relationship that you guys do, how much have you guys spoken to each other this week about status of the roster and where you guys are at with players and maybe like who numbers and who's available and that kind of thing? Are there any kind of honest conversations that way between you two?
But Mac Brown and I, is that who you said? You broke up for a second, Hale?
Yes. Yeah. Mac Brown. Yes, sir.
No. Honestly, no. I've thought about it a couple times, just calling him and being like, "Hey, man, where are you guys on stuff?" But we didn't. We the first time I spoke with him was last night at this event, and it was more just kind of overall landscape. One of my good friends in coaching is Stacy Searles, North Carolina's offensive line coach, and his wife is a good friend of my wife. And I know my wife and Stacy's wife, they went walking yesterday morning to get out and get some exercise. So I was hoping that Emily, my wife, could get some scoop out of Stacy's wife, but I don't think it happened. But no, we haven't. Competitive wise and all that as well, I don't think you'd want to share that, and I certainly wouldn't want to share, where we are. And at no point this week did I think that we were in position or in danger of not playing this game. I know there was chatter and rumors out there about that last night, apparently, but I mean, that hasn't even been a discussion from our standpoint. We're in good shape and excited about the guys that we're taking into that stadium tomorrow.
Colin Taylor.
Yeah, Shane, two for you, but just if Zeb or Colton aren't able to play tomorrow, who is your third string quarterback, and what do you want to see from Zeb / what has Zeb kind of meant to this program this year, coming in and doing what he's done?
Yeah, Zeb's been just steady, and when he was playing, obviously, he led us to 2 wins at the beginning of the season, and a great win against Vanderbilt at the end. And then, people forget when he got hurt against Georgia, he had taken us right down the field on the first drive, and we were going in to score when he got injured. So and then when he wasn't playing, he's just been a great leader and resource for Luke or Jason or, any of those guys. And so certainly thankful that he's a part of our program as a player this year, and he's going to be a great coach going forward as well. And then, beyond Zeb and Colton, those are obviously our top 2 quarterbacks. And, beyond that, let's hope we don't get to a third.
Steve Reed.
Hey, Coach. First of all, a 2-part question. What is the most difficult thing in preparing for Sam Howell defensively? And secondly, your thoughts on the whole Mayo bath, which has been widely publicized, I guess, and people are looking forward to. You a little scared of that?
Yeah. Sam Howell, first of all, I mean, he's a great competitor, and watching the video on him, I mean, he's just he's a great passer, but I didn't realize what an explosive runner he is. It's amazing how many just tackles he's broken this year. And North Carolina is one of the best teams in the country. It runs over 10 yards or more, and a lot of that's his runs. And you see guys coming in there and trying to tackle him, and defensive backs and linebackers from really good programs in the ACC are just bouncing off of him. So he's a competitor that is really talented running the football, and then he's just he's a winner, and he's got a lot of reps underneath him as well, and he's played a lot of football. I mean, so that's the biggest challenge. And then you got an offensive line coming back that they had this year. Basically, I think every single offensive lineman returned off last year's team. And then you add, a great running back in Chandler that's the 3rd leading rusher in the ACC. So there's a lot of pieces, and then downs outside at the receiver position. So it's a talented, explosive offense. And, as far as the Mayo bath, I hope I get to experience it, not that I'm dying to have mayonnaise dumped on me, but it means we won the football. If it means we won the football game, then I'm all for it. I did find out that it wasn't just going to be like naturally happen on the field. It was going to be more like an organized dumping at the end of the game, which makes you a little bit more nervous about it, just because of the anticipation that exactly what's coming and when it's coming as well. But it would be a good problem that I'd love to experience.
All right, we're going to let Coach go and be able to get some of these players in. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you, guys. And again, sorry that John Whittle's not on this call, but thinking of you, John, and get well soon, my man.